I'm excited for today's episode. I'm going to break down some of the top reasons why people feel like an imposter and what's holding them back from stepping forward into the psychedelic space, whether as a facilitator, a guide, a shaman, trip sitter, all of it. We're going to talk about fear, self-doubt, criticism, safety concerns, and so much more. Love y'all. Let's roll the intro.
Whether you're a life coach, therapist, biohacker, invested in wellness, or in the healthcare profession, if you have an intention to work in psychedelic spaces, you're in the right place then. If you're called, get involved. But first, get informed. Let's talk the 4 N's: intake, intention, in-space integration, leading to deeper transformations. Psychedelic Coach Podcast, Talk Cole. Walk you through the process, it's all possible. Leave space for the follow-through. Most importantly, integration is not optional.
Listen up, y'all. I don't know if you could see this. If you're watching the video, you could see this. But my face is twisted up because I just recorded this podcast episode and it was fire. It was fire. Imposter no more. Overcoming self-doubt. Stepping forward as a psychedelic-informed coach. And then I went back and listened to the audio and it was totally glitchy and robot-y, and such is life. I get to use all of my tools. Now I switched microphones and I usually have on like the dudes that are at the sidelines of football games, like this little headgear microphone, because I move around a lot. And so I really like to have the flexibility to boop and bop around, as Christina Ensminger says. Welcome to the Psychedelic Coach Podcast. My name is Cole Whitty. Today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome and some of the most common things I hear from people of why they're not stepping into the field. We're going to talk about fear. We're going to talk about self-doubt. We're going to talk about criticism, and we're going to talk about safety, because I feel these are the most common things I hear from coaches around why they aren't stepping forward, whether to facilitate, trip, sit, be a coach, or to be an educator in their community. There's a not enoughness. There's a shame dynamic at play. And that's what we're going to talk about. So first thing I'm going to dive down into, am I going to dive in? Or am I going to dig in? Do you want to dive or should we dig? Let's dive, because I feel like digging is a lot of work. And I feel like diving sounds like more fun. So let's dive into fear. Is probably the most common thing when it comes to people that feel like they have this tremendous purpose in the psychedelic space, but then they're afraid. They're afraid of what would people think. They're afraid they haven't trained enough. They're afraid they haven't lived in the jungle. They're afraid they haven't had an indigenous elder. They're afraid they've been in the psychedelic space for only a few years or even a year or one experience, but they feel they're called to be in this work. So there's this idea that you have to get rid of fear to move forward. I don't do that. I just tell fear it's got to get on the bus. Like, bus is leaving. So either fear, you're going to get left here, or get on the bus. And I speak to those different parts of myself. I don't know if you do this. I totally do this. I'll sit and talk to myself out loud in the car. And there's usually, if there is some part that's being very loud, whether it's fear, anxiousness, anger, hurt, whatever, I almost can put an age to it. And so I've defined my different parts into different versions of myself. And the fear part is the not doing a good job, not taking care of people, not knowing enough. Y'all, the thing is, you don't need another training. You don't need a coaching certification, and that's coming from the person that's selling you a coach certification. But the thing is, you don't need it. The only reason that we turned ours into a certification is so that those people who had completed it, other people could identify that it was someone who went through the training and completed it and showed up and understands the context that we're all sharing together. Is it a credibility marker? No, nobody freaking cares. Okay. And the people that do care don't actually care. They're just trying to make logical sense of either choosing to work with you or not choosing to work with you. At the end of the day, it's so interesting because I personally spent so much time getting certifications and trainings, and I would have a wall of them on the back. And guess what they mean? Nothing. Now, if you go to my website, I don't even list them. I don't talk about trainings I've taken unless I'm speaking specifically to a mentor or something in particular that I learned from a training or from a certification or experience. But overall, it's like it doesn't even really exist. It's assimilated into the Borg that is Cole Whitty. And that's partially why I call myself the Collective. There's a lot happening here at any given time. So fear for me is merely a signal. It's anticipating change, which it could be a traumatic circumstance of change. It could be an exciting part of change. There's the primal instinctual thing of hesitancy, because what if it's not safe? And so my invitation that as you explore or work with fear, the idea that maybe getting past fear is not getting rid of it. Maybe it's bringing it with you for the ride so that you have a clearer understanding of what it means to you, which takes me to self-doubt. And self-doubt is one of the other things I hear people talk about a lot. And when you think about doubt, it's confidence. And most people will come into this space saying, Cole, I need more confidence. I need to learn how to be confident. And I argue that fact. You already are confident. Even self-doubt is confidence. It's merely that you're confident that you can't, that you won't, and that you don't. Our goal is to help you identify what you can, what you will, and what you do, or what we've described as the confidence continuum in other podcast episodes, one of the things we teach at the training. So your confidence runs on a continuum. You are never without confidence. You're either confident that you can, that you will, that you do, or you're confident that you can't, that you won't, that you don't. So what if we just need to slide that little button on the continuum of confidence from one side to the other and help you identify, get clear in what you know, have some illumination around what you don't know, and some next steps of what you could do about it? How would that feel? Self-doubt is, I would say, common. I would say even normal. But don't allow that to become a barrier or something that will stop you from stepping into your purpose, because your doubt, you are perfect. Exactly who you are, where you are, what you are, who you want to be, who you're not yet, who you're building to be. You are the prayer. You are the miracle someone is praying for, right? Exactly where you are. Because if someone that is on a health journey like I've been on, endometriosis, an ovarian torsion, 20 whatever broken bones, a coma, 3 traumatic brain injuries, fibromyalgia, hypothyroidism, all the other things that I had, seeing where I am now is so far. It's like trying to throw a football from one side of the field to the other. And I've never had any training, and I don't know how to throw a football, and I don't have the muscles and the strength built up in my body. And so it's too far. It's too far-fetched. And so you might be one step ahead. You might have noticed some things around trauma or circumstances or situations that you've had that the way that you can articulate to someone that's in a lot of pain is exactly what they need to hear right now. And so the doubt that you have, by getting clear on that, creating a system of support, that's why Condor coaches are, honestly, I pinch myself at the incredible skills, heart, contribution that Condor coaches keep showing up with, not only for themselves and the people they serve, but for each other. Watching them do lives with each other, podcasts, interviews, sharing each other's gifts. I have never seen in any other container in the psychedelic space so many people with the quote unquote same training, uplifting each other, sharing each other, telling their people, hey, if this person resonates, go follow them, go work with them, go to their retreat. Why? Because we don't believe in competition. We actually sit and identify each person's individual gifts so much that we see how different we all are. Where I feel like other containers are trying to convince you you're all the same. You're not. You're not. Even if you were in a container with someone else that's a Reiki master, who was a body worker, who is a psychedelic coach, who's a shaman, you're not the same. That's the beauty of it. The beauty is in the differences, and only through our differences do we create similarity in how we operate, in how we communicate, in how we tolerate, accept, and grow together. So for me, self-doubt is a lack of clarity. Once we get clarity, there is no doubt that you are amazing exactly where you are right now. And that takes me to the next thing that's holding people back, and it's fear of criticism. Y'all, I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't freaking suck sometimes to have people put very hurtful things, to criticize, to demonize, I've had one person tell me that I am the devil and I was sent here to destroy them and all these other things. And as someone that truly cares, that it hurt. It did. And I had a big realization that when I say my deepest desire is to be a part of healing journeys, then that also means I don't always get to choose how their healing is inspired by me. So that was a tough pill to swallow, no pun intended. And things people have posted or videos they've shared saying very cruel and mean things. I feel like going through it is part of the maturation process. It's part of building the muscles, the skill sets, the skin to get out there even more. And you know what? I refuse to have one person, one troll, one DMer, one commenter come and disrupt the purpose, the mission, and the passion I have to serve you, our Condor coaches, and the rest of the community. We have so much free content. No one ever has to buy anything from me. I don't care. Have it. Between the podcast, YouTube videos, www.condor.coach is a free course. Or if you want a free book, go to freeguide.vip. Or if you want a physical book, go to Amazon, pre-order The Condor Approach for $11.99. It comes with an integration course for less than $12. Because part of why we charge what we charge is so that we can pay what we need to pay for free content. It's so interesting to watch people criticize other facilitators or coaches for not giving enough free things or for charging. But y'all, free stuff is not free to make. I have a whole team, and not only do we have a whole team, I don't pay them $10 an hour. I don't have a single person on my team making less than $25 an hour. Not one. Why? Because we pay market. Just because someone is in the Philippines, I don't pay them Filipino rates. So anyone that has a problem with what I charge can suck it. Literally. Suck a big one. Don't care. I got stuff to do. I got people's families being taken care of because of what I charge. And if you don't want to pay it, take free shit. I don't care. Have it. Run with it. Resell it. Everyone will know. I don't care. Free. We have been penetrating the underground for a long time. So you will get found out if you try to repurpose and sell things that you don't actually understand, because what we are giving for free and even what we are selling, it's level 1 Spanish class as far as a language, as far as understanding. And so I can ask you 3 questions and prove that you don't know what you're talking about. Now, is that my intention? No. Merely to say, people are going to criticize you. You're going to get hurt sometimes. But if you really believe you are destined to serve in this space, then this is part of the game. The brightest light will always cast shadows. Are you willing to step forward for the people you're meant to serve? You can't tell me on one hand that you are dedicated and devoted to this work while staying humble or meek or mild, because that is not working anymore. I need you to step fully forward, and some people are going to call that arrogant, and some people are going to call that egoic. But being out in the spotlight isn't any more ego than hiding from the spotlight, because it is your ego keeping you in the shadow because of some idea someone's going to think you're not humble or that you don't have enough humility. So to say that the spotlight is egoic and the shadow is not, my friend, I don't agree. Because to even withhold and be humble, you would have to have an idea of what it is to be out there and confident and even arrogant. And I'll tell you, I am arrogant in what I teach because I've watched it transform lives, and it doesn't have to be for you. Again, you don't ever have to pay anything. But if you're holding back because you're afraid of people criticizing you, you've already given your power away. And if you're doing this power plant, master mycelium plant medicine work, and then you're hiding, you're not being authentic. You're not being honest with yourself. You're not showing up for the people that need you because of your fear that someone's going to post something on Instagram. Delete it. Do the work. Get a community, if not the Condor community, then another community to remind you who you are. It gets hard when you're alone and you forget who you are. We won't let you forget. We have multiple calls per week to remind you who you are, for you to remind each other and see each other and uplift each other and recognize each other. Our community, just that is worth the investment. And I've had people say so. For others, the content is worth the investment. Both is life-changing. And if over the next year you would like to fully step into this realm as a coach, as a facilitator, as a trip sitter, whatever, we're here to support whatever you want it to look like. We just want to make sure that you are informed, not only of the sexy, fun parts of transformation, but the nitty-gritty, the shadow, the criticism, the self-doubt, the fear. The first time someone has a horrible experience with you and tells everyone and puts a negative review, it all happens. Because when you're brave enough and you care enough, at some point, someone's going to push on your Captain Save-A-Ho cape, as we call it. And you're going to put the cape on and you're going to help and cross some of your own boundaries of who you're willing to work with because they're desperate, or because if not you, then who? And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. It's all a part of it. And this is why, for me, it's really important to share all of the parts. It is fun, y'all. I love it. And sometimes it's hard. And creating a business, sometimes it's fun. And there's a lot of stuff I don't want to do. And when you go for a journey, people don't want to purge. People don't want to cry. People are afraid of losing control. All of that happens in the business space too. I don't want to write the content. I don't want to do the billing. I don't want to have to call people who didn't have enough money to pay. I don't want to have to show up on social media. But you know what? Get over yourself. And I mean that with all the love humanly possible. To, again, going back to the ego thing, people are so afraid of criticism for having a big ego, of putting themselves out there, but it is your ego preventing you from stepping out just as much. So, lastly, safety. Safety, safety, safety. We talk about it a lot because it's that important. And it's another reason why people aren't stepping forward as coaches or facilitators or trainers or leaving their job, is safety. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about medical contraindications. I don't know enough about substances. Y'all, you'll learn. It's about not getting in over your head and getting clear in what you can do. And first finding what is safety. A lot of people out there trying to create safety don't have safety. You can't create something you've never had. You can create a safe environment, as far as Tom mentioned on the last podcast, as far as keeping out animals or keeping out intruders or things like that. But I am always shocked at how many people, not shocked. A lot of people have not experienced safety in their own body in a long time. So it's no wonder you're afraid that you can't create it or fortify it or support someone else in their safety. That's why coming to a training is really helpful. Coming to a training isn't for some evidence of certification. It's being able to come and learn more because we've been in this game a long time. Not only have I been in the psychedelic space for 15 years from a shamanic perspective and 21 years before, not so shamanically, but also you've got Taz 31 years as a nurse doing triage in New York City. Someone who has literally learned the in and outs of safety, or when someone's not safe and how often they aren't. And if someone's not safe, they can't listen to you. And if you're not safe, you can't connect to them. Safety is required. And if you're worried about first keeping people physically safe, you're missing a lot more to the story. You're missing a lot more of what safety actually entails, and it's things you can't provide for someone else. And so being able to understand that is pretty important. So I hope to see you at a future training, because whether it's your fear, self-doubt, criticism, safety concerns, your own physical safety because of legality, because of location, because of age demographic, contraindications, whatever, or whether it's safety for the coaching container you want to create, running retreats, we cover it all. But safety first has to start with you, my darling. If you aren't safe, you can't create safety or support someone else's safety, because you've got to be able to help them start to even consider what safety might be. So I hope to see you at a future training. We're now starting to offer where you can come for the first 3 days, even if you don't want to be a coach, you just want to come learn the methodology. You can come to the Condor Approach. You can go to condorapproach.com, sign up for the June event here in Austin, Texas. You're getting 3 10-hour days. I assure you, you're going to get the fire hose. Plus, you are going to get, we give a lot of opportunity for movement. There's going to be a side room. So if you need to get up and move, we're going to have little like somatic, which means body, tools, bouncy balls, so that you can still hear the event. But if you just need to be able to get up and move, we're really looking to diversify learning styles and bring in other elements so that we can increase accessibility in another way once again. Plus, you'll have the recordings. Plus, you'll have videos in the portal. Plus, we tell you books you can read, podcasts to listen to, playlists we love. So I hope to see you there. I love you. Don't let anyone or anything, including yourself, hold you back from what you know to be true in your heart. We don't have time, y'all. We don't have the privilege of the years that I had up until now to dilly-dally on my path to healing. You've healed enough to help someone if you are hearing the call. If you're hearing the call, the time to answer it is right now. It's going to take me a year to really get you ready. But a year from now, you could step fully into this as a career. And if you've had it in your timeline that you want to be working in this field in 2 to 3 years, the time you have to start learning is right now, y'all, not in 2 to 3 years. And if you want to do it over the course of a year, it's going to take you about 2 hours a week. We say 250 hours to learn, apply, and be fairly proficient with these things. So whether you start now or 2 years from now, you're going to have to get in 250 hours before you start to understand it. So you could do the slow roll now, or you could take a sabbatical this fall and join us in September and hit the ground hard for 3 months and get that same amount of time in 20 hours a week. What do you want to do? It's up to you. Or I guess it's 10 hours a week, whatever it is. If you love this episode, share it. If anything resonated, share it on Instagram. This is how we grow. This is how we elevate. And this is how we bring out more free stuff. Okay. Getting more people at the training events, even if it's not you. We do offer affiliate packages. We love to speak on your stage, or if you've got a podcast or you want us to zoom in to a bunch of family and friends, let's do it. We are 100% in for it. We're accessible to you. Just shoot us an email at team@condorcoach.com. Shoot me a message on Instagram, and I'll see you on the flip side. Until next time, y'all, mind your fear, mind your self-doubt, mind your criticism, mind your safety. Come learn some more if you want, or take all the free stuff if you wish. Peace.
Integration is not optional.